Good 10 minutes after noon. We now have the pleasure to introduce Otto Reinke from TWE-Tandem Wind Energy GmbH in Germany. And Otto will talk about the market for small wind turbines in Germany. I expect that or suppose that you are ready, Otto?
I hope so.
Good. Well, the word is yours.
Okay, I just see. So I hope everybody can see the presentation, the first side letter. And well, let's start. So my name is Otto Reinke, and I am the founder and CEO of Tandem Wind Energy. We are a startup company located close to Berlin in Hennigsdorf. And in the next 20 minutes, I will give you a short overview and some insights of the German small wind turbine market. The agenda I have prepared, one second. The agenda which I have prepared gives you, I will give you an overview of the renewable energy development in general, and the development of small wind turbines in Germany in particular. And in the end, I'd like to give you a short overview of the German small wind turbine market and an outlook, how I see this development. Okay, so as mentioned, Tandem Wind Energy, we are a startup company located close to Berlin. And our vision was to develop a solution we want to make a contribution to the sustainable energy generation and to overcoming the energy poverty in the world. So where we are for the time being, we have completed as Tandem Wind Energy the basic development of a small horizontal axis wind turbine with 5 kV nominal power. We have set up the supply chain for the production already and produced the kind of pre-series. And we are just starting the field test, but as a lot of other colleagues are facing this situation, Corona has arrived. The borders have closed and the processes also here for us, they went slow. So we are still continuing the development, and I hope that in the period of May, June, we will commission 3 to 4 pilot plants in Europe and continue the field test, which we have stopped for the time being. In the next steps, we want to build up the international distribution network. That means we are looking for, we will define target countries as well as looking for distribution partners all over the world. And market entry is targeted for Q1 in next year in 2001. As I mentioned, our vision is to develop a small wind turbine for everyone. And we see the future for renewable energy, especially in the developing and emerging countries. So therefore, we developed our wind turbine in terms of robustness, reliability, and affordability for the requirements of these target markets. That means, for example, in terms of climate zones, assembly by manpower, because a crane is not available everywhere. Components have been designed for 20 years lifetime and so on and so on. And we want to have a very good price-performance ratio, because this, I think, for the time being, is a hurdle also in the development of small wind turbines. Coming to the market situation and the markets in general. So how is the situation for the general market for renewable energies? Well, the situation is the global conditions, let's say in this way, for renewable energies are very good. And also for small wind turbines. The global population is growing to 8.8 billion until 2035. At the same time, the GDP is doubling. We will have a rising energy demand by 34%. And these growth will take place almost exclusively in developing and emerging countries. That means industrial countries, the OECD countries, they will stay on a level of roundabout where they are today. And the rise will come purely or mainly in these developing countries. What is the impact of fossil power plants for this growing energy demand? Well, it's limited because fossil resources are finite. The combustion of fossil fuels is responsible for a large part of the CO2 emissions. And this also we have to consider, large central power plants, they need a distributing energy grid. And if you look for countries like in Africa or Southeast Asia, this grid is for the time being not existing. For example, in Germany, we are constructing at the moment the Südlink. It's a line to transport the renewable energy from the north to the south of Germany. It is around about 800 kilometers, and it costs, some saying 10 billion, others saying 40 billion euro, only for 800 kilometers. So I think this situation cannot be afforded by countries in Africa or Southeast Asia. So therefore, I also think that the future of renewable energy is in decentralized and small energy generation units. Additionally, 840 million people today have no access to electricity. Additionally, 1 million people, the energy access is, well, more or less good. Maybe they have for 3 or 4 hours per day, they have energy access. And 85% of these people are living in rural areas. Therefore, there are studies saying that until 2030, more than 2 billion people will receive electricity from off-grid systems. Already today, here, for example, the figures of 2018, global investments in renewable energy reach a level of around $300 billion US, and most of it has been invested already in the developing countries. So how have then small wind turbines developed in front of these global developments? Well, large wind turbines as well as photovoltaic have developed very rapidly and performing very good since the last 25 years. For small wind turbines, there's no comparable development. Although, for example, for price development, photovoltaic 15 years ago, it cost around about 6,000 euro per kilowatt peak. At that time, small wind turbines were already cheaper with 5,000 euro or something like that. But as of today, 1 kilowatt peak for photovoltaic, you can get less than 1,000 euro. And still, small wind turbines, we are on a level of 3,000 to 5,000, 6,000 euro per kilowatt nominal power. So this development we could not follow, which others have done. So as of today, we are still a niche market. Studies showing an increasing market by 10% yearly growth, up to a level of 400 million US dollar in the next 5 years. But 400 million US dollar for a global market is not a global market, it's not a big market, it's still a niche market. This we have to see. And this market is also still fragmented. So a lot of different products occurring and leaving the market. It is less standardized still today. We have, due to these World Wind Energy Association, around about 300 manufacturers, and most of them producing horizontal axis wind turbines. And it's still a niche market. Figures are showing the global market for the time being 990,000 wind turbines which have been installed worldwide, and only 3 countries showing 90% of the global market. This is China, US, and UK. And now coming to Germany, where are Germany in this market? So Germany is defined as a medium-sized market with around about 170,000 installed units and 26,000 kilowatts. But what would be the potential of wind energy, and especially small wind energy in Germany? Well, in order to evaluate the market, it is necessary to see what kind of potential is available. what kind of wind resources we do have in Germany. Well, I think most people know this kind of map showing the wind situation in Germany. And we have very good conditions, especially here on the seaside, on the North Sea and the Baltic Sea side, but also in the south, there are areas which are quite favorable for wind turbines. A study showed that 13.8% of the Germany's land area can be used for wind energy. This corresponds with a capacity of 1,190 gigawatts. For the time being, we have 60 gigawatt, I think, installed in Germany. So the potential is definitely there. Aside of this, potential of the market, we have to see how are the regulatory framework in the market. Well, in Germany, we have different definitions of small wind turbines. We separating it of 1.5 up to 1.5 kV, and then a second group, small wind turbines, 1.5 to 7 kV, and a medium size for 10 to 75 kV. The market itself, we have a feed-in tariff in Germany, but the remuneration is very low, with only 6 cents per kilowatt hour in 2020. Additionally, we have a so-called EEG-Umlage, it is called EEG surcharge, which the end consumer has to pay. That is a level of 6.7 cents per kilowatt hour. For our case, for small wind turbines, up to a level of 10 kV, this surcharge for own consumption is not necessary to pay. If you feed in, the end consumer has to pay. This is for sure. It's for all the same, for all sizes and categories the same. In terms of 10 kV to 75 kV, 40% of this EEG surcharge is you have to pay when you have your own wind turbine and your own energy consumption. A registration of all installations in Germany is mandatory. That means if you have photovoltaic or if you have small wind turbine, you have to register this device. In terms of pieces, the smallest one, the micro, this is an evaluation, 16,000 units, because they are not really published, and it is the best guess coming from the industry side. 16,000 units in Germany. Small and medium-sized wind turbines are better registered, and we are talking about together around about 4,000 units installed in Germany. But here, additional information I will come later on in my presentation. Further regulations for wind turbines dedicated to building permits. So every wind turbine higher than 50, with a tower higher than 50 meters, is treated as a large wind turbine. And it has to respect the operating permit according to the Federal Emission Protection Act, the BIMSCH-Gesetz. Small wind turbines up to 50 meters are subject to state building regulations, and up to 10 meters, each state has different regulations. So we are facing in Germany an inconsistent regional regulations in terms of erecting a wind turbine, especially up to 10 meters. Additional requirements: noise emission, shadow casting. Yes, it's normal, but environmental and nature protection. Here I have to say, if you want to erect a wind turbine, a small wind turbine in Germany, the government or the local body can ask for a nature protection analysis. That means, for example, I have done it here for Lower Saxony, and they're asking me to make a calculation for how many birds are living there and which impact a small wind turbine has on these bird population. So this kind of report costs you 2,000 to 5,000 euro, roughly. So the situation in this term is not so easy in Germany. Well, in the application process, now the next step will be the application process, and costs are influencing, of course, the profitability of a small wind turbine. And then we come to the business concept. why do you want to buy a small wind turbine in Germany? It's on one hand the independency from the energy prices or to do something for the environment, but in the end also it has to have a business model in order to earn money with it. And the business model you can separate two ways. On the one end is the feed-in tariff, and on the other hand is to produce the own energy. Well, with the feed-in tariff, we have, as mentioned, a feed-in tariff of 6 cents per kilowatt hour. That means a return on investment you have to calculate around 15 to 25 years, depends on the local wind situation and the cost of the unit. High energy cost, well, this can be an interesting subject because in Germany we have almost the highest energy cost in Europe, with around about 30 euro cent per kilowatt hour for a private household with 3 people. So if you want to install a small wind turbine in Germany, you have to secure to have a high energy consumption. That means here you can make a kind of a business model with it. How is the market development? Well, you will see here the installation which have been done in the recent years. And until 2011, the number of installation is rising. And afterwards, since today, the number of installation has decreased. At the moment, we are talking about a yearly number of new installation of around 70 to 100 units, mainly in the category of 1.5 kV and bigger. So coming now in order to make a short overview about the forecast and the situation and the outlook of the German market. In order to make a final solution of the market and the final evaluation of the market, we have to see the local German market against the background of the global development. That means the general situation for small wind turbine is very well. The global demands, all these driving market factors are positive, supporting the small energy situation for small wind turbines. But on the other hand, we have a lot of market barriers, especially the inconsistent requirements of the legislation and the high prices also of the units which we are facing. And the outlook is, well, Germany has a huge market potential for small wind turbines, but we have to overcome the hurdles which are existing here in the market. And then it can be a very interesting market for everyone. So Germany with small market for small wind turbine, I would say it's a kind of sleeping market. So thank you very much. I hope if there are any questions, please feel free.
I have one question, please. Rasmus from Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other places in Europe where you have problem to develop project because there's problem with local communities with architect of nature or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. It's true. This is at the moment a general development, not only for small ones, but especially also for large wind turbines. Also here in Germany, where people are saying that it's harming the environment, it is harming the animal population, it is giving emissions. I think with for small wind turbines, this is also given, but not in this extent like it is for large wind turbines. And I think on the other hand, it's not only this kind of factors which are influencing the development of a market. For example, if you see Denmark, if you see UK, when they had a good business model, the number of installations increased. Also there were maybe some concerns about environmental impact, but the development was positive. And then they changed the remuneration concept, and the market was imploding. So it's a lot of developments are concerned with the business model behind. We need it.
Yeah, so it's not only in Denmark.
Nope. No, it's everywhere.
What can we do about it?
Well, there are activities going in order to change the situation for small wind turbines going on in Germany. The question is if we are strong enough and if our voice is loud enough in order to get here situations changed. I think for the starting point, not for all time, but for the starting point to develop small wind turbines, we have to come with a kind of better feed-in tariffs, like we had it here in photovoltaic. They were starting with 50 euro cent or more for 1 kilowatt hour feed-in into the grid, and small wind turbines were always treated in the same way like a large wind turbine. So with for small wind turbines, we never had really the chance to develop it. So what we have to do is we have to combine forces. Otherwise, I see if everybody is trying to do it on his own, it will be difficult.
Impossible.
Or impossible.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Reinke?
Yeah, I have one question. Is a government incentive needed right now for small wind turbines, or it is self-sustainable?
Sorry, again. Okay.
Is government incentive needed for sustaining small wind turbines, or it is self-sustaining?
You mean the remuneration or the business model behind?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the government is paying you 6 euro cent, a little bit more per kilowatt feed into the grid.
Yeah.
6 cent. Well, you can calculate the return on investment. You come to a level of 20 years, 30 years, something like that. So this is not a very good business model. In terms of replacing the energy which you normally purchase, this can be a good model because we have very high energy prices in Germany, as I mentioned, up to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. And if you replace this one to a large extent by own produced energy, you can come to reasonable levels for return on investment.
Oh, so it's not only bigger windmill needed. Small windmill can be self-sustaining. Can be self-reliant regarding a business model.
It can be, but this is depending on the where your location is. It is depending on the cost of the wind energy unit you are erecting, and well, there are some import factors also. It can be, but it depends on the location.
Yeah, thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you very much. If there are further questions, I think we will take them after the session today, which is expected to be around 3 o'clock.